I am Brock McConkie, and this is Oh the Places You'll Go, how Theodore Geisel changed children's literature by being told he couldn't. The things you can think if you just use your head. There are stories awaiting and books to be read. There's a wonderful future that's headed your way if you only keep trying. Today is your day. Now, people may laugh and then wave you aside, but they don't understand how hard you have tried. And those people who mocked you and called you a flop will be at the bottom when you're at the top. Those Grinches who grinch at the top of the stack, they who sneer and who jeer and say skills what you lack, they're lying, you see, and their lies may cut deep, but they'll tumble and jumble just when you start to leap. Long, long ago, before Green Eggs and Ham, before Grinches in Whoville, before Sam I Am, when no one else would, there was still just one man who would change all the stories throughout all the land. But long, long before our dear friend Dr. Seuss, before whimsical stories were put into use, the tales that were told to the curious small weren't exciting or lighting to their young brains at all. So they chose not to read. It was simply no fun, for all they were reading was See, Jane, Run. Reading was boring, need there be more to say, for children preferred to go outside and play. And what's worse, my dear friend, publishers refused change. They decided that anything different was strange. So presses for books that were meant for the small kept on publishing rubbish left unread after all. But soon enough, something new would arrive that would entertain children and their reading would thrive. The man who would do this, we know him as Seuss, for he would put whimsical stories in use. But to do this, you see, he would have to try hard. He would have to keep going and get thrown off guard, but the places he'd go and the triumph he'd meet, all because of what happened on Mulberry Street. I am William S. Gray, the author and publisher of the Dick and Jane Basil Primers. I believe that the best way to teach a young child to read is by giving them simple, understandable sentences, like this. Look, said Dick, see it go up. After all, anything different from this, a Basil reader, must be far too strange and different to publish, I suspect. Mother says I have to read, as if I don't get enough of that in school. I would like it much better if it wasn't so boring. All that I'm reading is... Look, said Dick, see it go up. I will not read it. It's such a bore. I will not read this, please no more. I will not read it in a house. I will not read it with a mouse. I will not read it here or there. I will not read it anywhere. I'm just stuck here reading, a terrible bore. Oh, I wish for something exciting, something more. The things people thought that they kept to themselves, so that every good thought was placed high on the shelves. And since no one was writing what children enjoyed, they began to lose hope, all their interest destroyed. Although boring it was, children read still in pain, about things that were boring, and about Dick and Jane. But at the very same time, Ted Geisel arose, who was filled with good things from his head to his toes. He was brimming with magic and ideas that were new, full of likable characters with lots of wit too. In a world full of stories, he saw something strange. Reading seemed just too boring, but that he would change. He would change all of literature and break barriers too, and would change children's lives through a new point of view. When I'm around where people are, they always say to me, Theodore, keep your eyelids up and see what you can see. But when I tell them what I've dreamed and what I think I've seen, they look at me and sternly say, your eyesight's much too keen. Stop telling such outlandish tales. Stop turning minnows into whales. My eyesight's much too keen, they say. I'll let them say what says they may. What I have seen and have found myself do is to draw whimsical characters and little cartoons. With creatures and stories my mind comes alive, where cows that have wings from my thoughts are derived. But in college, you see, things are horribly slow, for here there's no place for imagination to go. But the Jacko, the paper for Dartmouth cartoons, I've drawn into part from those scholar buffoons. And I have a nickname I've put into use. I put under my work, and that name's Dr. Seuss. It's based on my mother. The name Seuss, it was hers. Our cartoon under Seuss, but to her it refers. School at Dartmouth is fine, but is stricter than strict. Every day with its Latin and science I'm pricked. But this year has gone by, in our laughs and our strife, we all get in trouble. It's just part of life. Time must go on, and school must as well. To Oxford I'm headed, where it's sure to be swell. Here at Oxford, the people are smarter than sin, but of course I have managed to rightly fit in. My drawings continue and schoolwork does too, though inside I still wish for something that's new. I have met a young woman, Helen by name, who has famed my strange drawings that have never been famed. She's opened a window on what I've tried to hide. All the places I'll go with her by my side. Now, if time were to skip or to hop for a while, it would stop at where she, Helen, walked down the aisle. Our marriage was quick, but now she's at my side, and together across bumpy life we will ride. 1936, the summer is bright, my wife and I boat under beautiful light. But when clouds cover over and cook up a storm, and the boat is all rocky, I miss summer's warm. The boat rocked and it rocked, and kept me out of bed. And the boat engine's rhythm got stuck in my head. Ba-dum, ba-da-dum, 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 ba-dum, ba-da-dum, ba-da-dum, ba-da-dum. Annoying it was, but the rhythm seemed right. I started to write down and scribble all night, and this is a story that no one can beat, and to think that I saw it on Mulberry Street. With Helen revising and me writing more, it became a story children had to adore. A story that no one can beat. It was done. I hope to find dozens of publishers, but not one. 1937, rejected again. Rejected, rejected, rejected. So when? When would my story that no one could beat be sold to the public all over the street? I've been turned away once, which turned into 11, which grew solidly to a good 27. 27 straight times publishers refused change. They decided my writing was simply too strange. So down Madison Avenue, when my story seemed banned, I walked, ready to burn my story in hand. It was useless, you see, and put me in a slump. But what I did not see at all was the bump. I am Mike McClintock, and just yesterday I began my first day as the juvenile stories editor at Vanguard Press. I feel as though children's books today are incredibly boring. Today I walked down Madison Avenue in New York City on my way to work. I bumped straight into my old college pal, Theodore Geisel. He told me he had been rejected 27 times by publishers all over for his book, A Story That No One Could Beat. We printed 15,000 copies of And to Think That I Saw It on Mulberry Street and sold our first copy on December 21st, 1937. Clifton Fadiman from the New York Times wrote, "They say it's for children, but better get a copy for yourself and marvel at the good Dr. Seuss's impossible pictures and the moral tale of the little boy who exaggerated not wisely but too well." The book was a hinge point in the history of children's literature, and would change every upcoming children's book for the better, all because Theodore Geisel was told he couldn't. My, the things you can think if you just use your head. There are stories awaiting and books to be read. There's a wonderful future that's headed your way if you only keep trying. Today is your day. Now people may laugh and then wave you aside, but they don't understand how hard you have tried. And those people who mocked you and called you a flop will be at the bottom when you're at the top. Because Seuss kept trying and didn't give in, the places he went and the praise he did win. Oh, the places he went and the triumph he did meet, all because of what happened on Mulberry Street. Thank you.